Hello and welcome to Spring Command Forge Alliance. We're on Certus Major. This is a great moment in history of the game. And what's happening? ZLO changing his mind real quick here. Voodoo versus ZLO. The last three games of this best of 15. ZLO coming in with 6 wins. Voodoo with 5. There was also a draw. Hopefully there's no confusion at the very end. But whoever gets 8 wins first is the winner. And I think there might be a little miscommunication. Shouldn't be a problem though. We'll work it all out. Interestingly, is Voodoo choosing to go with Cybern, so he's anticipating speed will be a factor at controlling these expansions. ZLO has been Cybern throughout this tourney, and ZLO took a big lead early on, but as what we've seen with Zog Blackheart as well as in this one, the dynamic is that one player gets a big lead and then loses it, and a lot of it has to do with the map choice. And as these, let's see, the build order should be pretty standard. Second air. If somebody doesn't go second air, and I think they are going second air, and yeah, so Voodoo is doing something maybe slightly different here. Perhaps something to look at. ZLO. See at what point these players choose to come out with hunters. So far, I'm just seeing engineers. There are 2 very big best of 15s coming up this week. Really excited about these. It's going to be Vortex versus Napalm, which those 2 players, for me when I play them, they feel almost like the same player. I would say Vortex probably a little better with the bombers, but otherwise they're extremely even in the way they play. They've also played each other many times, and it's been great games to watch. And the other best 15 is Pecherico versus Zoc, which both of those are for 50 USD, so the pressure's on the players. Of course, that's only secondary to the love of the game. Let's see, ZLO, yeah, ZLO is actually almost, you can call this second land. So ZLO is going to have a little later air than Voodoo. Actually, both the players doing very similar things. Yeah, very similar. The difference is a mass extractor, although that's been rectified as well. So this engineer is a little quicker for ZLO than Voodoo's engineer. In terms of power, it's very equal. In terms of reclaim, 131, 256, a little more reclaim for ZLO. ZLO is actually mass stalling here, so it means he's using his build capacity a little bit more. And finally, we're seeing a Mantis after a total of 5 engineers. 5 engineers, a Mantis, and it's probably a good call given that Voodoo, yeah, Voodoo's got a Mantis and a Scout looking for that Hunter. He's not going to find him. Scout first for ZLO, Interceptor. What is going on? Nothing's coming out of that factory. Voodoo's gonna wait. He's not going to make a judgment, or he's just not paying attention. So this map, I mean, anybody who's been watching these casts, who's been playing this game, has had to play this map. It's got a large amount of reclaim, which is very spread out, which if you don't get it, you're kind of screwed. ZLO is one of those players who is very good at attacking the reclaim. He, a lot of times, isn't fighting you in this first few minutes, he's fighting the map. And he gets a really big advantage early on. But Voodoo is also, he's no stranger to this map. Some of the best casts in the history of this game have involved Voodoo. I remember Voodoo versus Lucian, when Lucian was in his prime, was just a totally epic game. People want to check that out. I'm not really sure what's the best way to search the channel for videos. You can try the most popular videos or search by name. But you can definitely get lost. So if somebody wants to go back and make a playlist of the videos that they like where the quality is good, because it did vary as it went from setup to setup. Interceptors so far, no offensive air units from either player. In terms of the power spam, they're very even on power. We're seeing a total of 2 engineers on power. 2 engineers on power, and it looks like more are going to be added. It's going to be a total of 4 engineers on power. Power on this map is critical given the large amounts of reclaim. The Mantis for Voodoo might cause great problems, and you can see what ZLO is doing. He's not just in an attack move here. He's going to get those rocks manually. Otherwise, it's just scouts looking, and these scouts are really good at avoiding Tech to Flak. Tech to Flak's not good at killing quick units. Oh, and that was critical. That Mantis got there just in time. Voodoo missed an opportunity. Could have killed that engineer. He would have snuck in. That did not happen. The use of scouts from ZLO are far superior to what Voodoo is doing. Voodoo is just stashing his interceptors in a corner. Meanwhile, you see these two scouts for ZLO, giving him total recon. ZLO making a big land spam. It's going to be a big land spam in this position. There's also a lot of reclaim with trees and rocks to supplement any of your economical needs. You see almost 2,000 reclaim so far for ZLO. Voodoo at 1,500. Good looking radar here for Voodoo will be an interesting target. Another radar. And what is Voodoo doing? Voodoo is doing something very different. Oh wow, why? Like 9 out of 10 games or even more, the two ACUs meet in the middle to fight for that quantum gate. Voodoo is not going to do that. And for Voodoo to do this in his circumstances, ZLO only needs to win 2 games. Well, he needs to win 3. If he loses the next one, he's in a lot of trouble. Bombers finally make their... Actually, this one's already got 1 kill. Anti-fight, this will be critical. I think Voodoo has numbers. Oh no, they're just going off map. Very similar numbers. ZLO, I think, is just going to out-micro. This bomber is just going to town. Voodoo putting up a factory. So Voodoo, by putting his ACU in this position, prevents any kind of attack on his expansion. So his expansion is going to have no problems. He's also got a rather large force moving in, which could challenge ZLO in his bottom expansion. You can see what ZLO is doing. He's not going to go for the middle. The two ACUs are going to meet up top. Let's see if this surprises Voodoo. Voodoo hasn't been scouting as much as ZLO, so ZLO able to react to the situation. In terms of mass income, ZLO is significantly ahead, actually, in both power and mass. I want to keep on monitoring ZLO. Reclaim 4,000 Voodoo. Basically the same, but Voodoo with a power disadvantage. Now Voodoo has four engineers, and that's what we saw. ZLO, he's got 5 now. He put a lot more income into his power production early on. So in terms of where the factories are for Voodoo, they're quite far away from the ACU, and so if Voodoo gets into a battle, he could get himself in trouble. Meanwhile, Voodoo with a big push. This is where Voodoo is going in blind. He needs to scout. He's got a scout right here who will see the ACU is not there. That should give him a clue that the ACU for ZLO is probably going in to face him. And that's where Voodoo probably should retreat and regroup. He's going to put more land factories up on top. Meanwhile, it looks like it will be a disaster for ZLO. So overall, the tactic for Voodoo with his ACU has worked by allowing him to come in and kill a whole bunch of units. He's going to wipe out this whole expansion. So he needs to just retreat. Amazing that on Certus in the first game, after 7 minutes, nobody's gone to the metal. Voodoo's going to begin killing off the Tech 1 PDs. Something very unusual. Voodoo needs to put up a point defense and see if he can finish it. And Voodoo unable to sneak in. This could be a huge lost opportunity for Voodoo if he doesn't continue moving. I think he kind of stopped a little short. A bit of a mistake. Transport standing by for Voodoo. Voodoo's still behind on power. And the power spam. You can see power spam together with air spam. ZLO significantly ahead in air. Oh, good move from Voodoo. Instead of going in and attacking the expansion, which was blocked, he's gonna go in and create all kinds of other problems, which should force these units to retreat, which will open up the door once again. So Voodoo, after making a slight mistake, corrects it. Both players with point defenses standing by. A big land spam from Voodoo coming in. ZLO still ahead on mass because, wow, ZLO has so many mass extractors, Tech 2 mass extractors. So ZLO is just completely out-teching Voodoo. Voodoo had much better movement in terms of map control, but much better teching from ZLO. And ZLO might just go quick Tech 2 air or Tech 2 land. He's got a lot of build capacity on his Tech 2 air, making gestures. And when you're away from home with the ACU like that and you don't have a big air force, gestures could be a problem. Looks like a big counterattack now from, not a big, but definitely a counterattack, which might be supported by some gestures. And very disappointing for Voodoo that he didn't take out this entire base. Voodoo now has made it to the middle. Their dogs are barking. We also have a couple Tech 2 mass extractors, at least one for Voodoo. Do we see Tech 2 land, Tech 2 air? No, just a big gesture spam. And a successful drop, it should be a successful drop for Voodoo, although the Jester should be able to take care of the problem. And in the middle, you can see Voodoo's going to get a lot of free reclaim, as we're going to see a big engagement here. Whoever wins this engagement will be basically in the driving seat. I'm not really sure who has the advantage at this point. I think ZLO has a lot more production. Let's check out the numbers for Voodoo. He's got about 40 tanks and 10 arty. And for ZLO, yeah, he's got slightly more tanks. He's also got Jesters, which can come in and kill the most important units. Voodoo has lost his PD. He goes ahead. He's gonna kill off the Medusas. Meanwhile, yeah, that drop was successful. We got units running all over the place. An air fight, which, yeah, bad micro from Voodoo. Voodoo still has a lot of units streaming in on the expansion for ZLO. He might want to consider putting more units close to his ACU. We see Tech 2 land now for ZLO. He can get a couple Fire Beetles if he wants, if this ACU battle begins. He is just going to make Rhinos. I don't see a Tech 2 Engineer. And in the air fight, how the heck does Voodoo have more air than ZLO? Well, no, he doesn't. ZLO is just not using his air. These Jesters getting killed for no reason. You can see in terms of the air spam, it's not really a competition, but on power, Voodoo has caught up. But so much build capacity, it'll be a large number of Rhinos, unless Voodoo has the overcharge capability. We see ZLO does. Voodoo doesn't, and he's in a big power stall. Such a big power stall for Voodoo, and he should be retreating here because the Rhinos and the ACU and the superior land forces are moving in, and ZLO moves in with his forces without the support of the ACU, so this is superior force, and the Jesters move in. Oh, yeah, this is game over. You see the later Tech 2 land from Voodoo. What we basically saw, you can see map control is in Voodoo's favor. Voodoo focused a little too much on the expansion and he won that battle, but he's going to lose his ACU. Nothing that Voodoo can do here. A Tech 2 flag, there's a Tech 2 flag that's coming in, but not in time. After 11 minutes, Voodoo a little irritated, so 7 wins for ZLO. He's 1 away from clinching this best of 15. Voodoo needs to win every single game from now on, but if he wins 3 in a row, he will take this best of 15. Hello and welcome to game 14. So Voodoo's up against the wall. ZLO just needs 1 more victory. ZLO having yet another problem. Yeah, when you tab out, sometimes the keyboard doesn't work until you start playing. That is a common issue. So you probably shouldn't alt tab too much when you start the game. Of course, that's when you want to get the right kind of music, the right kind of everything, right before you play. Voodoo, let's see if he changes things up. Previous game we saw both players go 5 engineers and then some Mantis, so not very aggressive with hunters at all. We saw also very non-aggressive air from both players. Voodoo did something crazy where he didn't run in to the middle. He changed his strategy, tried to block off his expansion. He kept his expansion the whole time. What ZLO did, instead of when he recognized that, he didn't go to the middle either, but he teched a lot more than Voodoo. With that superior eco, he also put a lot more engineers in the power spam. Voodoo was in a bit of a power stall at a critical moment. Got a little too much mass. He actually started reclaiming mass in the middle. Probably put him over the edge, and it was very interesting. That's what oftentimes happens in Spring Commander at the highest level. You might win the map, and Voodoo did get map control, denied this expansion eventually, but at the same time lost his ACU to superior air and then also quicker Tech 2 land. That's exactly what happened. So I'm going to take a 5-second break. Second air. It looks like the second air will be with the engineers. ZLO will help out with his ACU, then do some reclaiming and put factories on the top ledge. Voodoo is already building on the top ledge. In the last game, ZLO got just a little more early reclaim than Voodoo. And, you can see the ecos from both these players are just excellent. See, still just engineer. That's the 5th engineer coming out. On this map, typically if you go more than 5 engineers and that person goes hunter, you start, oh, here's a hunter from ZLO. Should have seen him. So that's a difference. If you're playing someone like Crazed, he really likes to just put a bunch of engineers, not even expand on this map. He'll just reclaim, get a huge economy and a base. Voodoo, once again, is not going to go to the middle with his ACU. This is boggling my mind, but these players know a little more than I. At least on this map. Or most maps, or just in general about the game. And it's something about this game which is quite amazing. I've played this many years now, and it's still, if you just get focused and play like a lot for a month, start thinking about it, you'll understand things that you had no clue about for many years. It's really that deep. And I don't know where the ending is, because some of the players in this, they seem to understand it so much more. It's not that they have a higher APM, although, yeah, shouldn't talk about that. At this point, when we have Manta coming out and a Hunter, this Hunter is looking for engineers rushing the reclaim, but that's not going to happen. Voodoo is going to build a lot of build capacity for factories. Scouts, once again, that's another thing that ZLO did very well last game compared to Voodoo. Voodoo also is going to use his scouts a little better now. He's going to spot that Hunter, so he won't go in that position. This Hunter will spot the ACU, so you can see how good that scout is. So that's not a Hunter, that's the flying eyes of ZLO. So ZLO will know that Voodoo is doing this crazy thing again. There is a Mantis on the case, which might try to grab that engineer. It's a fairly quick unit. Let's see if that works. So Voodoo has to put out his best game to stay in this. ZLO looks like he didn't quite get that move order correctly. 3 land factories from below the edge. That's pretty much as high as it gets. It's also interesting that ZLO is choosing to do this manual reclaim. Let's actually see. I always want to see how much one of those rocks is. Probably about 100 or 200. So I'm not sure if it's really worth it if you just do an attack move here. You still get quite a bit of mass. You get it a little faster with the manual. And will ZLO be able to cut out this Mantis with his ACU? I think this Mantis might sneak in, which will create a problem for Voodoo. Expansion for ZLO hasn't been challenged at all. Voodoo with absolutely no aggression. And this Hunter has already got a kill. Should have seen what it killed. I can't see a wreck. I'm not sure. I don't think it was the engineer. It was probably a scout. Scout for Voodoo. You'll see that the engineers are already at the expansion. It's very annoying when you see that. This engineers, I like to put a factory in that position. It's usually outside the radar. The radar, Tech 1 radar, usually doesn't cover these corners. Yep, the Mantis sneaks in, and there's already a scout. It should be reclaimed. Yep, it will be reclaimed. However, a Mantis will kill that engineer, critical engineer. There's no other engineer in the corner, which must be protected for Voodoo. Otherwise, he'll be in a big hole. ZLO also not going to the middle, but this time the ACUs won't go to the same position, so it might be a little longer game. So Voodoo a bit faster is what he's doing. So this factory here is really good because it really puts units in this position where you don't get surprised. So given that ACUs aren't going to the middle, we'll see at what point ZLO and Voodoo will send arties. At about minute 8, we did see arties go to the middle. This time Voodoo isn't really behind on power. Once again, we see 5 engineers now on power spam. We see 4 engineers on power spam. So that's one adjustment that Voodoo did make in this game. Voodoo should not let those sneak past him. But we've seen stranger things. Not at all clear what will happen. Oh, ZLO is just a master. Look when he moved in, right when Voodoo walked past him. But I don't think those Manta are gonna live. Masterful. However, it did not work out at the end. So this expansion should be very safe. Once again, we'll look at the air competition. Voodoo not taking it lightly, making a rather large air force. Where's the Air Force for ZLO? It looks like it's a little thinner, but still. An Air Force ZLO in position to cut out this force that's going to go after the expansion. I think these units could sneak in by Voodoo will just retreat. He does not want to just throw those away. T1 PDs in the middle getting taken down. Voodoo running into a PD. Nice PD from ZLO. Will take a little bit of time for Voodoo to get past. Voodoo at 4 kills. Gotta see some Medusas come in. So Voodoo retreats. This is typically a pretty good place to defend this choke point. You can put stuff on this ledge. You can put artillery there. And yeah, we'll see if ZLO allows Voodoo to just grab that mass. He might be in a bit of trouble. Voodoo, yeah, he has made the adjustments, although he isn't taking as much as Voodoo is. ZLO is once again taking quite a bit. He's got 2 Tech 2 mass extractors. He's going for his 3rd. ZLO and Voodoo very even on power. Medusa's coming in, attacking the PD. Of course, they do it very slowly. Good move from ZLO, taking out the Medusas, and a drop being readied by Voodoo. Drops on this map are always very nice. It's very difficult to respond to them unless you got gestures because of all this terrain. That's what I'd love to see from new maps like this, but maybe this one's a little too eco-friendly perhaps. Voodoo successfully makes it past the point defense. He's now allowed his units to move in. We saw a wall that was being constructed by ZLO. It will not be finished. And who's going to get the better of this battle? There's numbers for Voodoo. Voodoo will play a safe retreat. He'll reclaim a little bit of mass. Successful drop for Voodoo. Things going well for Voodoo. Very even economies. Let's check out the reclaim. Voodoo 8300, ZLO 8400. Wow. Identical. But once again, check out them scouts from ZLO. That's one of the things he talks about. If you listen to his casts, both of these players are actually live casting themselves playing. So if you look at the description, you should find their Twitch channels, so you might be able to see the replay from their point of view, which is probably the best way to learn the game. When you watch me play, you might improve, but you won't be the best unless you add a little bit of your own 5%, maybe 10%. 9 kills for Voodoo, quite low on health. I think that fighting that PD took its toll. ZLO now facing off against a rather large force. Voodoo might think about ending it here. You can see now this drop from Voodoo might be a little bit outgunned. ZLO is retreating to a PD. That PD should be finished. There's a lot of build capacity here, which might result in quite a few kills, although without that PD I think ZLO ACU will be in trouble. Oh, and the engineers are going to die. ZLO, oh, this is not good. Will ZLO survive? This is an total emergency. Voodoo breaking through on all fronts. Voodoo's also got Tech 2 land. ZLO continues to retreat. Now one trick you could try doing, oh, it looks like Voodoo missed the opportunity to block him in. If you hold control and move with your ACU, it does a much better job avoiding hits, so you don't get blocked. ZLO has stated, and look at that wall. ZLO with 2,000 health retreats, but he did lose a little bit of ground on the other side. Oh, and another successful drop. Oh, Voodoo I think is in control here. He's also in control of the middle, which will give him a nice boost. And Tech 2 land. Yep, Tech 2 land. We see cruise missiles from Voodoo are being readied. So Voodoo at a critical time pulls out very good gameplay. He really, I think, outplayed the ZLO here. ZLO perhaps made a couple of mistakes, didn't have a couple things go right for him, but it was those adjustments by Voodoo. Maybe a little slightly better scouting, a lot more air, and this time Voodoo with air control, which takes away those gestures from ZLO and drops. I bet you if you look at the APM for Voodoo in this game, which you could if you look at this number, and you look at Patagotohan replay parser, the link for that is in the description. You'll see that it's significantly higher for Voodoo than previous games, or probably higher than ZLO. So ZLO, feeling very confident, probably didn't play as hard as he should have. Are those engines? No, those are more drops. I want to see how powerful that cruise missile launcher will be. There are 2 missiles already loaded. I don't see any TMB at all. And I do see Tech 2 mask extractors, which are definitely spotted by Voodoo. Tech 2 land on top for ZLO should stop the flow of Tech 1 units. In the middle, we see a fairly even fight. Looks like the reclaim has been claimed by Voodoo. Voodoo sitting at 17,000 totally mass stalling ZLO at 15,000, so about 2,500 difference. Very good play, but look, ZLO is not done. He is counterattacking. But I think once those missiles start flying, it will be really bad. And given the huge mass stall for Voodoo, Voodoo might as well just shoot now before a TMD gets put up. But total air domination. This is what air gives you. It gives you the opportunity to take what belongs to you. This PD doesn't work given the good use of transports for Voodoo. And it would be a shame to lose that against some Tech 1. I hope that doesn't happen. And of course I want Voodoo to win this one because I want to see more games. Yeah, these Tech 1 assaults by ZLO I think will be eventually stopped. And gestures for ZLO getting kills that they probably shouldn't. This is a very deep drop from Voodoo. It's going to take out a Tech 2 mask extractor. Oh, and maybe this is one of the reasons that Voodoo wasn't using his... This is critical. All that build capacity on Tech 2 factory destroyed. There's still a couple Tech 1s running around Voodoo's base, but this is very deadly. Now power's going down. And there's nothing here. This is just air factories, engineers, and power. Nothing to kill those units. Those missiles I would have shot, but I guess that was the right choice. The strongest force for ZLO is here, but it's not really putting Voodoo in any kind of danger. Look at the economies. So much more power for Voodoo, significantly more mass. ZLO though continues to do damage. Look at that Mantis, 8 kills in the corner. A couple of Rhinos finally make it, and actually a couple of mass extractors will be saved. Will that die? I think these need to move in, finish that off. So ZLO defending quite well, but this was quite devastating. It's very devastating. Jester's still alive, might do some damage on Voodoo's expansion. TMD is up for Voodoo. You can see multiple Tech 2 mask extractors for Voodoo. He's also got transport standing by for more drops. Tech 2 flak. Voodoo needs to save his air. And ZLO realizing things really suck for him. And Voodoo didn't even use his cruise missiles yet. No, he's got 1 kill. Not sure what he shot. Oh, he shot. Oh my god, I'm such a noob. Voodoo shot ZLO's ACU. I apologize for being such a noob. But we also see Tech 3 land from Voodoo, which would have definitely ended it. But a missile, instead of hitting the mask extractors, hit ZLO's ACU. Very well played by Voodoo. 7-6. This is as close as it gets. Well, it would be even closer if Voodoo wins the next game, which is also going to be on Certus. Hello and welcome to game 14. 7-6 in favor of ZLO. Voodoo winning the last 2 games, or actually no, he won the last one. The previous one, ZLO won. But Voodoo was extremely dominant in the last one. Maybe ZLO didn't play quite as well as he should have. Interesting on this map, nobody's been going after the civs. They've been taken by engineers in both games after minute 10. And ZLO, I think he needs to feel under a little pressure here. He still just needs to win 1 game, but given the way Voodoo beat him in the last one, it was a bit scary, I think. He did not have any air control. He had later Tech 2, so basically at every point he lost. He did spend quite a bit of time building with his ACU. The ACU for Voodoo was much more aggressive. I think that made a little bit of difference, but also the use of drops by Voodoo was just excellent. And drops on this map are very difficult to control unless you have total air domination. In the last game, Voodoo had 4 engineers on the power spam. I think in the very first one on this map, ZLO had 5. We'll see, I'm not sure what he had in the last one, but you can see on some maps, the amount of power you need is huge, and those are the maps with a lot of mass. The more mass you have, the more power. Well, okay, something very different. ZLO deciding to mix it up. Look at all them hunters coming out. See Voodoo not really doing that. He's still just making engineers. These hunters were willing to pay for themselves, only to kill expanding engineers. If they do, they could put Voodoo in a bad position, but if they just die for no reason, Voodoo should have a better economy. We'll try to see that in these numbers. He's got a little more mass production now. ZLO does a lot of manual reclaim here. He really knows all these rocks, although Voodoo does too. Second land, there to air. So once again, Voodoo this is where Voodoo is just a bit quicker, because he had more engineers working on things. ZLO with a little more power. The hunters are not almost into position to come do damage. This hunter is going to come in. We'll try to take out any engineers trying to expand to the top. Although I haven't seen Voodoo really try to push in that position. And here comes a bomber. So maximum aggression from ZLO. Bomber scout, just a scout, and interceptors. So Voodoo will have an interceptor to play defense with. I'm gonna put it at 0. Oh, I don't. That bomber, that Tector Flak was shooting at it. This scout should give really good targets. Look at all those engineers. If on this hunter, he's got to run. He's facing 2 engineers. So far, this aggression from ZLO is working out quite well. Is he going to be able to double drop? Oh, and the dodging action from Voodoo. They were dodging as a team there. A bit unlucky. 3 kills on that hunter. Another hunter coming in. So even though that bomber didn't get any kills, it still was pretty good. That could have been much better. It could have been devastating for Voodoo. It did stop all those orders that Voodoo had given earlier, and the hunters are still working. Hunter could prevent a factory being built there. The ACU for Voodoo is going to continue doing this thing. ZLO also will do the same, but ZLO once again attempts to build. He's going to finish 3 factories on the top ledge. Voodoo only made 1. Sorry, I think I keep on calling ZLO Voodoo. Voodoo really looking forward. We'll see if ZLO can sneak in the Mantis. That's one of the things that worked for him last game. However, it didn't have a huge impact. If Voodoo can completely shut down any flow of units through this path, it would really make this a very secure area. Although, can't forget about the hunter now with 2 kills. He denied a mask extractor. Hunter on top, still 4 kills now. Appears, he killed the engineer over here. So aggression really paying off for ZLO, who's now it looks like significantly ahead, not on power but on mass. And this hunter is still got to be in Voodoo's mind, as well as the other one, but I think this one might be critical. If this hunter kills this engineer, it will cost Voodoo a lot of mass into the future. If you think about what a Tech 1 mask extractor is for a minute, it's 120 mass that you can have. 120 mass is about the size of one of those rocks. So denying that, and you see a minute goes by very quick. There's a lot of lost opportunities. The hunter is still alive with 3 kills. Voodoo holding down the choke. No aggression whatsoever from Voodoo, either with bombers or hunters or Meta. He's just playing defense. ZLO with a significant advantage, and it's still very early, but I think ZLO did make the correct choice. And that's going to be 5 kills. Although I think that was the 4th one. See if the hunter can run away. Up on top, 5 kills. And even though I'm hoping that Voodoo wins this, because I want to see next game, I really love the way ZLO is playing. Will he be able to out-micro the Mantis? Nope, the Mantis wins. If you can get around and start running circles, have the Mantis try to chase you with its turret. And then air fight that, ZLO with numbers once again. Very even power production. Voodoo, what the heck is happening to his mass? Why is it so low? See, 3,000 reclaim for Voodoo's ZLO. Significantly ahead. ZLO with a little bit of power problem. Air fight continues. ZLO takes air control. This hunter's still alive. 5 kills. The engineers for Voodoo need to come in and grab all this mass, because you can see the expansion for ZLO. We'll call it saturated. We'll pretend we're playing StarCraft for a second. Drop coming in from Voodoo. I think it'll be engineers. I think an engine drop in this position would really help Voodoo. but the mass income is so huge. If it wasn't a map with so much reclaim, with this kind of gap in mass income, I think would be the end of the game. You can see PD perhaps from ZLO. Voodoo scouting ahead in front of his ACU, pushing up with his ACU. This engineer would be great to kill if you're Voodoo. There's a lot of reclaim in this position. And ZLO getting a couple kills with his ACU. This choke point is a bit wide open, and that hunter with 5 kills will finally die. As we also see bombers from ZLO as a great target of a radar and a bunch of engineers. Also any of these engineers would be a great target. And what happened to that transport? Still hasn't done anything. It'll go into the corner. Voodoo continues to push. This aggression with the ACU, it looks good, but it's almost like desperation. Oh, the bomber survives with 8 health. That interceptor didn't get the job done. One more shot would have taken care of it. Puts all of these engineers in danger. Voodoo continues to push. We'll see what ZLO does about it. ZLO has a lot of build capacity on this factory. Perhaps he thought about taking that Tech 2. Might think twice with the ACU in that position. Successful drop from Voodoo. He is behind, but drops is one of the things that can even it out. He can get a drop on the expansion, maybe a drop up here. ZLO. Almost 8,000 reclaim Voodoo. 6,300. Voodoo seems to have solved this problem. A very good looking radar in the middle for ZLO. You can see what kind of coverage it gives him. He knows exactly when anything will happen to the in the middle. There you can see this Medusa. Just going to go to work, which means he can start getting ready to go to the middle himself. In terms of power, ZLO is way ahead. See how much build capacity he's got in the air factory, quite a bit. It's the correct unit, quite a bit. Still see a big power spam. And how come the power difference is so huge? Not really sure. I guess there was more engineer units building power. Voodoo beginning to catch up on his mass production. Tech to land for ZLO. We see Tech to land anywhere for Voodoo? I don't believe so. This is a nice placement of Tech to land. Get Tech to engineers, maybe make some cruise missiles. T2PDs in the middle is a popular thing to do later on. Also radar. If you get a good base here, put Tech to radar in the middle. TMD cruise missiles allows you to play the game. There's a lot of options. This is a very good Mantis will deny a radar and an engineer. You can also put a couple of rhinos in this position, which will stop the flow. Of course, if Voodoo is able to put up a huge force here and run over that Tech 2 HQ, that would create a problem. And wow, Voodoo has caught up in terms of income, and Voodoo will do an offensive drop. We'll see where that goes. In terms of total air production, ZLO is taking away a lot of build capacity from his air. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Voodoo pushes through the bottom choke. On the top choke, if ZLO was to push, which he is about to do, I think he canceled the T2 upgrade. This drop needs to go before it's found out. If he goes around here and drops right there, it would be great. And Voodoo, I think this is a mistake. I think he threw away a couple of units there. Rhinos will counterattack. It'll be very difficult for Voodoo to stop this counterattack. Point defenses need to go up. This is going to be, you can see a lot of Medusas here. Medusa Rhino combo. This is a major problem for Voodoo and the bottom choke. In the middle, we see both PDs are down. We see Tech 1 units going to battle. A lot more engineers for Voodoo. However, a lot more Tech 1 tanks for ZLO, which means these Engis might not live long enough to reclaim. And this is just ridiculous. That drop has been found out, and a lot of units are going to die. Transport plus 3. Oh, I wanted to make a comment that I won't, out of respect for people fighting in Afghanistan. But something may have happened in real life that was similar to that. We have support factory, a bunch of rhinos. Here's the HQ for Voodoo. Yeah, you can see Tech 2 flak as well. Look at the scouting work from ZLO. ZLO knows exactly what's happening to air forces, probably fairly similar. ZLO has put a bunch of build capacity back. I'm not sure, maybe that was a mistake when he moved back. Voodoo has cut up on power, so the economy is very similar. ZLO is a slight advantage. He does have 2 Tech 2 mass extractors. Tech 2 power started by Voodoo. And in the middle, who got that reclaim? I think Voodoo may have got it. Voodoo has nearly 18,000 reclaim, 15,000, so I think ZLO could have got it, but Voodoo a little quicker. Wonder if that's too loud. Hopefully it's not. So in terms of the total Tech 2 land units, I see a lot more rhinos for ZLO. He did start his Tech 2 a little earlier. You can see the force in the middle. Contains 2 rhinos. There are also 2 rhinos somewhere that might make it to the middle. The radar coverage for Voodoo, he can't really see too far deep into ZLO base. ZLO, this guy, look at those beautiful scouts. ZLO has got quite a few rhinos, 6 rhinos in this position. This is all Tech 1. These rhinos can win. And a major battle going on up on top. 2 2PDs beginning to make an appearance. This will be a longer game unless somebody gets sniped. Bombers coming in, taking out radar. ZLO will take the top position. And that's one thing you could do if you win these big mountains. From those mountains at the Tech 2 stage, things like cruise missiles and actually even T2 Arty or Tech 3 Arty once you hit the Tech 3 stage, which I'm sure is around the corner, can be quite devastating. Like all these factories here could be at the mercy of the Medusas. Look at all the Medusas from ZLO. ZLO, I think, has this game. If he does not make any mistakes, he's got the advantage. But Voodoo, we know he's playing excellent right now, will take advantage of any kind of mistakes that could be given by ZLO. ZLO amassing a massive force. Amassing a massive force. That's what this means. In the dictionary, it should have a picture of that. 50 Medusa, 64 Manta, and no Tech 2 whatsoever. I think he could totally run that over. And that could run over all those factories, which would really make life shitty for Voodoo. In the middle, the walls. The civilian walls doing their thing. If it wasn't for the wall, I think ZLO would move in. I think he might be attacking that wall. No, he's just using Medusas to attack. Voodoo might retreat here. Or a couple of T1PDs and walls, I think, are a must for Voodoo if he realizes what's happening. Does he have an idea? He definitely does. He sees a huge force. See the ACU for Voodoo? Yeah, he's gonna go in. He's gonna have to battle. He knows that's, if he loses that, it'll be decisive. He'll risk his ACU. Using your ACU on the front line is very dangerous at this point, given the possibility of Tech 2 air, possibility of cruise missiles like we saw in the previous game, and of course fire beetles. And once you start fighting a lot of Tech 2 units, your ACU health goes down quick. And as we expected, on the right choke point, successful win. This is the major Tech 2 force for ZLO, easily won. A lot of reclaim now available for ZLO. ZLO can also attempt to do drops when you take that choke point, take out this entire expansion. Wrong click for Voodoo. Voodoo has somehow won air, although there's still a significant air force for ZLO, standing by, not fighting. So one thing about this force from ZLO, it's all Tech 1 and a lot of Medusas. His Tech 2 force is moving in on the other choke, so look at what ZLO is doing. I mean, he's attacking on all fronts, and Voodoo saying this is too much. Voodoo saying GG. I think it's accurate. Even Voodoo, I don't think in this position will be able to do much. He just lost all 3 choke points. ZLO, I think with that early aggression, got the initiative. Voodoo was at a significant disadvantage in mass income for a while. He did win the middle reclaim, it wasn't enough. ZLO built up large enough forces and simultaneously attacked when he had an advantage on every single front. And what is this? How many Medusas do we have? 150 Medusas, 27 Manta, and 23 Rhinos. That's the magic mix from ZLO. In 16 minutes, 24 kills for Voodoo. He might just get killed by a Medusa shot, although Medusa's a little behind. Rhinos for Voodoo. Continue to fight till the end. Possibility of a T2 snipe, perhaps. I'm not seeing that possibility. And actually, you see ZLO just converging on the ACU. He's just going to end the game. bombers for Voodoo. Some overcharges for Voodoo, perhaps. He does not have power storage. He does have a lot of power. He did invest quite a bit in this. I don't think he really used it. And ZLO is the victor. 8-4 is the final score in this best of 15. I think Voodoo was a bit behind early on. He played excellent in a few of these games. The Loki and Certus games, I think, were my favorite. It's where Voodoo was really playing well, but ZLO won every single game when water was involved, and to make a comeback from such a deficit is just too much to ask for. Maybe we'll have another best 15 between them and put everything on land, I think, in the near future. But in the nearer future, we got Zoc versus Puerto Rico, which should be excellent. The last map in the best 15 between Zoc and Puerto Rico will be Eye of the Storm. Hopefully people don't mind that map is going to make a comeback. If you remember, some of the Voice of Reason tourney action between Puerto Rico and Zoc and Eye of the Storm was some of the greatest games. So we might see 3 of those. The maps are also excellent, but don't forget about the best 15 between Napalm and Vortex. Those two have been playing each other and training together for the last few years. Some of the top players, they're both top 20. Vortex could be somewhere close to the top 10, and the global as well as 1v1 ranks. I always like to play against them because they're just slightly better than me. I didn't used to think Napalm was better than me, but losing like a whole bunch of games actually makes you believe that he is. But with Vortex, he's just got really good bomber micro. So I'm really looking forward to those games. Hopefully people enjoyed this tourney. I'm always open to suggestion about what you want to see.